What's going on, everyone? So, former Laker Jordan Clarkson is expected to be available for trade this offseason. The Utah Jazz are making him available. Now, kind of makes some sense, right? Utah is kind of trying to figure out which direction they want to go. There's a lot of reports that Utah is potentially looking to add a star and maybe try to jumpstart and expedite their rebuild. But there's also a lot of thoughts of like, okay, we kind of want to put ourselves in a position to hit that reset button, stack up assets. Maybe we move a Lauri Markkanen, Jordan Clarkson, right? Basically, everybody is available on Utah for the right price. And prior, a lot of people we saw, a year and a half ago, people were like, hey, Danny Ainge, he's the GM. He's never going to trade with the Lakers. And we saw that he was the reason we were able to move off of the Russell Westbrook. Also worth noting, Danny Ainge said himself that he believes the Lakers picks are the best picks on the market because he believes that the Lakers, post LeBron, post Anthony Davis, win that 2027, 28, 29 season, that those picks are going to be lottery picks, and he is more than happy to take them. So kind of puts the Lakers in good shape for potential trade partners with the Utah Jazz. Now, question boils down to Jordan Clarkson. Is he worth going and acquiring? Now, on the surface, he's a guy that go get you 17 to 20 a night, sixth man of the year, or former sixth man of the year, but a guy that's comfortable and used to coming off the bench as a sixth man. He would be a welcomed addition as far as his scoring goes as the sixth man off the bench. He is 32, or will be 32. Be 32 in June. So, he's kind of getting up there in age, but he actually is on a pretty reasonable contract as far as contracts go. So he did sign a deal not that long ago. This upcoming season, he'll be on a 14 million contract. And then next year, 2025, 2026 will be a $14.2 million contract. So he's got 2 years left on that new deal. Now you're talking about a 6'3", 6'4", combo guard that can, make a little play, score the basketball, right? He's a guy that can get a bucket. He's more of a streaky guy, though, right? Like, he's not a guy that, game in and game out, he's giving you, 18 a game like clockwork. He's more of like, when he's on, get out of his way and let him go get buckets. And then there's times where it's just like, his shot selection at times can be rather rough. And his efficiency are my biggest problems. Now, as with all things, what is the price, right? I always liked Jordan Clarkson, right? I would have been fine if he would have stayed with the Lakers forever, right? I didn't, he's a guy that I've kind of watched, not great on the defense side of things, and again, can be very streaky, but in a sixth man type role, guy coming off the bench that just is providing 15 a game and he's comfortable and he's okay in that role. Like, I don't mind that, right? But if he's thinking like, hey, I want to go to a place where I can start and be this, I can be a 25 point a game guy, like, then no, right? If he is willing to kind of buy into being that sixth man and like, hey, you're probably not going to close games, but you're going to get 20 plus minutes a game and it's your show. Go off, go get some buckets. I don't hate the idea of Jordan Clarkson. Again, he's had some efficient years, some not so efficient, but you look at this past season, 17.1 points, 5 assists. He had 3.5 rebounds per game. From three-point range, though, he shot 29.4%. 29.4% on 5.6 attempts. The previous year, right, 33.8% on 7.5 attempts. The year before that, 31.8% on 7.6%. The best he shot was in Cleveland in the 2019-2020 season, where he went to Cleveland and then he went to Utah. He averaged 37 and then 36%. He finished the season at basically 37% on 6 attempts per game. Not very efficient. Like I said, he's not a good three-point shooter. He's not very efficient shooting three ball, but he likes to shoot a lot of them. Again, he can make the occasional plays. Not really a playmaker, but he is a guy that, he can find the open man, find the occasional cutter, things like that. But even from his field goal percentage, 41.3% last year, 44.4% the previous year, and then basically 42% the 2 previous years besides that. From 2-point range last year, under 50%, 48.5%, although he was 53% last year from 2-point range, 53.3, previous year, and 52.3. But again, he likes to chuck threes, right? He has almost half of his field goal attempts come from 3-point range, and he's not very good at that. That's where my concern lies, right? Getting a guy that can't shoot, right, and loves to shoot, and yes, he can go get buckets, but is he the most efficient option, right? To me, it just depends on how certain things shape up. Now, if you could, in a perfect world, kind of land a Lauri Markkanen in the deal where you're kind of like, we really want Lauri Markkanen, but if we kind of position it to where like, okay, we kind of get tacked into Jordan Clarkson as well, then I wouldn't hate that, right? Like, say you work out some D'Lo deal, right, where, D'Lo's going out, it's expiring contracts, so you're basically helping Danny Ainge get off of Jordan Clarkson's long-term money, and you're kind of working something out to get a Lauri Markkanen and Jordan Clarkson. Then in that case, I'd probably do it. Right? Obviously, there's going to be picks and other things involved, but I'm just saying, like, if it's like, if Jordan Clarkson is the other piece, I don't necessarily hate it. I know a lot of people right now, ever since that report, have seen like kind of comments and, just around the league and stuff and X and stuff of like, Lakers got to go get Jordan Clarkson. Jordan Clarkson's the answer. Like, no, he's not the answer. Like, I am more than happy and okay if the Lakers just stay far away from him. We talked about this last year in the offseason when the original Utah like trades came up. Right? I'm not talking about the one that actually got done. I'm talking about in the offseason when Jordan Clarkson was rumored to be available as well. Right? A lot of people wanted him as well. A lot of people asked me my opinion. And I said, me personally, the price that it would cost to get Jordan Clarkson, it's not worth it, right? Now, again, maybe that price has dropped tremendously, but Danny Ainge wanted like a first or something like that for Jordan Clarkson. He's just not worth it. He's just not efficient enough, right? Can he go get a bucket? Yeah, of course. I mean, again, we've seen it, right? He averaged 20 a season as like a six-man for, right? He averaged like 19 a season as like a starter, right? He's a guy that, again, he can go get you 15 to 20 on any given night, right? You get him, he's going to average 15 to 20 off the bench, right? He can do that, but he's a high volume guy, right? You're talking about a guy that's taken like 15 plus attempts per game. He's not going to get that more likely than not with the Lakers, right? He's a guy that's probably getting half that, right? Depending on how the Lakers roster steps up. And then if you're going and you're trading for him to be, the third guy, like it just doesn't make sense, right? To me, again, he would kind of be like the add-on, right? So you go and you basically round out the rest of your roster, and then it's like, oh man, we could also get Jordan Clarkson. Why don't you get him, right? And even if you're not doing like a Lauri Markkanen deal or anything like that, right? Like let's say you go trade for DeJounte Murray and you go get like an Alex Caruso, and you got like Murray, Caruso, Vando, LeBron, and AD, right? And it's like, okay, well, we need some depth. Like there's a couple other options out here. We could go get Jordan Clarkson for pretty cheap. Like, then sure, go ahead. But like, if he's like, you're looking at him as like an upgrade over like any of our guards, I'd rather just stick with our guards. Or I've mentioned this guy before, and I know I got to do a video every time I talk about it. People are like, dude, do a whole video on him. I will once we get closer to like free agency stuff, because just kind of talking on the relative news right now, and then I want to start getting into the draft stuff coming up shortly. So stay tuned for that. But Kevin Porter Jr., right? I know some of you are like, I already know what you're talking about. But yeah, Kevin Porter Jr. I just think he's a guy that, again, gives you 19 a game off the bench, but much better efficiency, much better scorer, and he's like 12 years younger. Right? So to me, I'd rather get that guy, bring him in. He's going to be on a vet minimum because he's on a prove-it deal. Problem is if he's great, you run the risk of losing him. But to me, you kind of just figure that out, right? Like you may be able to figure out a way to kind of keep him, right? And if he's on the Lakers and he's thriving, he's having success, is he going to want to leave? I don't know, maybe, right? Malik Monk, right, was like a big question mark, right? It was like, Malik always, like the idea was like Malik's coming solely to go get that next bag. And it worked, right? You ended up getting paid by the Kings. Now he's very likely getting paid again, which he's a guy I'd rather have. Problem is, it's like he's probably going to demand 18 to 20 million, if not maybe more. I could see a team potentially paying him more, even Sacramento paying him more. I just, again, like I'm not a fan of the idea of Jordan Clarkson, but the news came out, people talking about it, so I figured why not touch on it, kind of get it out the way, And then, obviously I'm sure there will be some more news linked at some point. And depending on what that news is, maybe we'll talk about it again. But I just, personally, we need two-way guys. Yes, we definitely need guys that can score, right? And Jordan Clarkson, without a doubt, he's a bucket getter. He is. He's just a very inefficient bucket getter, right? And I'd rather just go get somebody that's either, maybe not as good scoring the basketball, but is a little more efficient, or go get like a legit 3-and-D guy. Like, can you work out a D? Like what it would cost to go get Jordan Clarkson, it probably costs you the same amount to go get like a Dorian Finney-Smith or something like that. And at least that's a legit two-way guy. Yeah, Dorian Finney-Smith isn't going to go get you 20 a game or 15 a game or anything like that, but he's going to go get you probably around 10 to 12 a game, and he also can defend the best player on the other team, right? Like, I'd rather go do that, and they're like the same age, so it's just, and Dorian Finney-Smith, I think, is making the same amount or even less, right? So it's just like, with everything that you're going to have to trade to go get those, I just kind of lean towards like, hey, let's go this way, right? But as always, this is a discussion. I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you like the idea of like, yes, go get Jordan Clarkson. He's a guy, bucket getter, put him on the bench. Do you think no? Like you said, very inefficient. Stay away from him. Do you think if he's like an add-on, like I said, get a Lauri Markkanen in the deal, and you're kind of just taking Jordan Clarkson to kind of help clear some cap space or match some salaries or whatever? How you feel? Whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.